Mother. According to Webster, is a woman in relation to a child or to children to whom she's given birth, or to bring up a child with care and affection. I guess those definitions are okay, but I'm not really sure if mother can really be encapsulated by words. Mother, I would say, is an experience. It's amazing how the first knowledge that conception has taken place in the womb captivates her mind, and she now sees herself transformed from woman to mother. The baby can be as big as a period on a piece of paper, and God agrees with what he already foreknew and calls her mother too. As the miracle of life begins to unfold in her belly, mother begins to ponder many things. Will it be a boy or a girl? Whose eyes will they have? Who will they be when they grow up? But when labor pains begin to knock and delivery soon follows, all of those concerns begin to dissipate, and those feelings of uncertainty are quickly replaced by a love that cannot be explained, no matter how hard you try. Love is sweet. Now the journey begins, and mother becomes an active participant in the life of her miracle. Over the course of a child's life, mother will have many experiences, one of which is a stage of total dependency where her time and attention is needed and required. So whether it be her he child, who in his mind is her superhero and is positioned and ready to protect her from all of the evils of the world, or her she child, who is convinced that she is a real princess. In Disney, they're just making theirs up. Whatever the case, mother, driven by that sweet, unexplainable love, will entertain and reaffirm her miracles while still correcting, teaching, and encouraging them. As time quickly passes, her miracles seem to be more independent and less dependent on her. They now have their own interests and their own friends, and mother begins to reminisce about how things used to be when her miracles were smaller and she was the center of the world. It's funny how a small boo-boo or a little disappointment quickly reminds her that while things may be changing, she is still mother. Her miracles are now teens, and mother has seemed to have lost that mushy, dreamy, unexplainable feeling of love for her children, but is very aware of her constant feelings of frustration and being at what seems like her wit's end. And her once bundles of joy have now turned into rebellious, disobedient, and sometimes disrespectful people she no longer recognizes. Now, whether she got it from her mother or discovered it by some other means, she's reminded that the greatest expression of a mother's love is demonstrated on her knees. With a heart filled with heaviness and sometimes a mustard seed of faith, mother approaches the King, who is love, and petitions his courts with his decrees about her miracle's fate. After a process of time, she'll look up and mother's babies are all grown up. When a mother sees the fruit of her sacrifice, it just melts away all of those rough patches, and she embraces the ending that's really a beginning. But then there's a pause for some who at the very mention of the word mother ushers in memories and emotions that contradict everything that mother was intended to be. These miracles were unwanted, rejected, possibly abused or neglected, and can only imagine what the sweet love of a mother could be. They carry a pain that is so deep that it appears to be beyond any man's reach. Then there are those who held the title mother who were either unwilling or unable to care for or nurture the miracles that they were entrusted with, but later stumbled into the light of the one who is love and realized their wrong and would give anything to turn back the precious hand of time and rewrite their story or song, but instead are only left with an empty scrapbook that reminds them of everything they did wrong. And what about the she-child who has lost her mother and her heart still skips a beat from the pain of the passing of her she-ro, and to this day still wonders if she'll ever see the sun again that's been hiding behind the dark cloud of sorrow? And let's not forget the mother who has outlived her child and now is left to look into the eyes of another's miracle and can only imagine what hers would be like in this moment in time. This mother fights being angry with love because love was sweet between her and her miracle, and now she feels like her life has no meaning at all. Under these circumstances, how can one say that love is sweet? It can be said because the one who is love was motivated by love, that he sent his only and begotten miracle to right a wrong and enable that repentant mother to rewrite her story or song, even if is not with her very own. Love is sweet. So when love hung his head and said, "It is finished," he meant that the sting of death had been diminished and the grave no longer held the victory. So if that she-child would simply touch the hem of his garment and take love at his word when he said weeping is just for a moment, and receive his beauty for ashes, his joy for mourning, and give crazy praise that will chase sorrow's dark clouds away, she can then look up and see that the sun is still shining, and she can have the memory of her shero and not feel that deep pain of sorrow because it's been wiped away by love's blood. Love is sweet. When love disarmed the powers and authority of his foes, he wanted that mother who had lost her miracle to see that no matter how impossible it may seem, life is still worth living. Love was so precious about setting captives free that he didn't want anyone mistaken about their victory. So love disgraced his enemies and made an open show of how he outwit them with the foolishness of the cross. Love wants the grieving mother to know that a mustard seed of faith will do it, and all she has to do is take what he said and plant it in her heart where it hurts the most. Then will flow a comfort that can't be explained, and she'll desire to live again. Last but never least, to those wounded miracles whose mothers misrepresented love, he sees you standing behind a locked door called pain, kicking and screaming to get out, and love hurts every time you call his name. If he could open it, he would, but there's a rusted padlock called unforgiveness that keeps him on the other side of the door. He knows intimately how you feel and that you doubt that love is really real, but the only way for you to know is to let your mother go. And once you do, your heart will become soft enough for love's healing to seep through, and you'll know for yourself that love gave everything to rescue you. So whether mother or miracle, know that love was poured out on you by no merit of your own. And if I'm not mistaken, love loved you first. Love's care and concern for you was just that strong. So understand clearly that when he said love never fails, he meant that in him you will always prevail. God is the greatest expression of what love ought to be, and it is in him that we should look and measure our lives in the light of what love was intended to be. So no matter what state you feel your life is in, there's always more waiting at the expected end. I say again, love is